There's more to imagine when you listen. So let your imagination soar with Audible. Audible has audio titles from every genre that will inspire you to imagine new worlds, possibilities, and ways of thinking. As an Audible member, you get to choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog. Enjoy an exciting reawakening of a beloved classic with the Audible original, David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. Produced by Academy Award-winning director Sam Mendes. Starring Ncuti Gatwa, Helena Bonham Carter, and Theo James. This adaptation breathes new life into a familiar tale. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/imagine or text IMAGINE to 500-500. That's audible.com/imagine or text IMAGINE to 500-500.
Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
Welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine, the show that teaches you how to survive the stuff that can kill you.
Like a locust swarm, a molasses flood,
No thanks.
or crowd crush.
And the stuff that just makes you wish you were dead.
Like marsupial tails. Why did it make you laugh so much? The way I said it.
It was just silly.
Sanitized scissors. And a soul-crushing job.
Oof. You know what?
What?
I'm glad this is not a soul-crushing job.
No, it's the best.
You know what else isn't soul-crushing?
Our theme song.
Ground is shaking under our feet. Mountains on fire, flooding in the street. Can't breathe the air, can't fight the feeling. Gobbling down Xanax ain't the way to be dealing. Gotta do better than just getting high. We gotta stick together if we're gonna survive. How to survive. How to survive.
Welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine. I'm Danielle, and that's Kristine, and she's, I don't know, getting into a Zen state?
I was doing
Is that what's happening?
a little meditation.
Okay.
I feel like we need to align our chakras before we begin.
Right.
So
And then I ruined that by just laughing in your face. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy
Good.
that Garen is drinking something other than Celsius.
Celsius.
I saw the Celsius commercial, and it's like all these active people skiing down the mountains, just drinking Celsius at the bottom, and I was like, that is the least likely way that people use Celsius.
And then it's just a shot of Garen playing video games.
Yeah, I was like, Celsius should just be like every person is, at their console.
Right. With an
Dehydrated.
affliction shirt on. Is that still a thing? People still wear those?
It's probably coming back, and they're
Yeah.
just like, join my Twitch. Is that what it's called, Twitch?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got that
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're drinking green tea.
Thank you.
And Danielle has a bird on her shirt.
I do. This is the second one with the bird.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I
Put a bird on it.
think it's really your thing.
It's weird because I don't like birds. I don't have a thing for birds.
It hasn't hit you yet? It happens as you age. You get more interested in birds.
First, you stop getting your period,
Yeah.
and then you start. You're like having an interest in
Is
birds.
that, like, I was like, wait, is that a woodpecker? Like,
I seriously couldn't care less.
you're
I
gonna.
can't-
It's gonna
Really?
happen.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I just
think
don't.
so.
Garen has a story for us. Now, he's already told it on Never Not Funny, but I didn't get to hear it yet. So I think you're going to be interested in this.
I feel like I might have seen a photo, and
Yes.
I want to hear. Yes,
Okay.
please tell me, Garen.
So Tuesday night we had a live Never Not Funny at Flappers. I came home, took the dogs out. As I was coming back in, I happened to glance towards my pool. the building pool. It's not my pool. I don't know. And there was something swimming in it. I'm like, what the is that I thought it was a rat. It looked just like a rat.
Rat's doing laps.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, what? I kind of got a little bit closer because I didn't want my dogs to see it because they would have gone bananas.
Right.
I saw like it had a white face and I was like, oh, that's a possum. So I took them upstairs really quick. I grabbed a towel. I came back downstairs. And there's a video. I don't know if you guys saw the video.
I didn't.
You have to watch the video.
I'm going to watch that
You have to
video.
link to it too. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send it. I can send it to you. So I get down in like near where the stairs are, and I just put my hand out, and this little guy is just swimming around, and he comes up and he grabs my finger.
Oh my God.
With his little paws.
Tiny
he
finger
grabs me.
Like they have like little hands,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like raccoons
Like little
do.
people hands.
Little people hands.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
so
he
cute.
grabs me, and then I just kind of just pull him in, pull him out, and I set him down, and he's just like smelling my finger.
I have to tell you, Garen was so sweet with this possum. It is adorable. It's really sweet.
Yeah, I was talking
and
to him. Yeah,
I can't believe, just sorry to interrupt you, but I would have absolutely freaked out. There's no way I would have barehanded tried to rescue a possum. Like this guy, props.
I knew that possums don't usually bite. They're not aggressive like that. They'll just flop over.
I
dead
play
or whatever.
possum. Yeah.
Yes.
So I wasn't. If it was a rat, I don't know if I would have been even in the situation.
No.
I
I
definitely
would've-
would have been touching it or helping it or not. I mean, I kind of would have put something in there to get it out. But yeah, so I get him out. I put him in a little towel. I dry him off a little bit. And then, you don't see this in the video. I'm wandering around my neighborhood. What do I do? Like, what do I do? I'm calling everybody I know. I don't know what to do with this thing. What do I do with this possum? I'm just looking for a possum to, like, give him to.
Hey, you lost
Right.
your possum.
You lost your possum, baby.
I couldn't find him anywhere.
You didn't do the possum call?
I should have.
Ooh, ooh.
Oh, yeah, I did that. And people just looked at me funny. Yeah. And then I did the Arsenio Hall thing. Nothing worked.
That's a dog pound. That's for dogs, not possums.
No wonder.
Yeah.
Man, I did have a bunch of dogs following me.
Oh.
They wanted to eat that little baby.
Yeah, they did. So eventually I was like, all right, everyone's giving me weird advice. Call this person, call this. I'm like, it's a possum in Los Angeles. No one's going to come out here. And it's 10:30, 11 o'clock
Yeah.
at night.
Maybe you should have said the possum had a gun.
Yes, they still wouldn't have
Well,
come
it
out.
was Van Nuys. They're not going to
Oh,
come.
right.
No.
You're right.
I'm a white person with a possum. Oh, we'll be right there, sir.
Yeah, you're not in the right zip code.
So I nested him up in the towel. I made it so he could get out and wouldn't get trapped
So
in
you
it.
didn't swaddle. You didn't do a tight swaddle.
Not too tight. Tight
Okay.
enough that I think he would stay warm,
Yeah.
but not too tight that he would be trapped. And the next morning I went and checked on him, and he was gone. And the nest was pretty much as I left it, so I don't think anything got into it. And
Yeah.
it wasn't
Okay.
disheveled. And
Right.
He's on his little merry way.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's sadder stuff that comes along with it, if you guys want to know that.
Yeah,
But-
you can tell us the sadder stuff.
So
heard.
after on the way down to check on him, there was another possum in the pool that did not make it. She was, I guess it was the mom. She was bigger, but not huge.
Yeah.
So it must have been just a younger mom, but I think she got trapped
Teen
in
moms. You know what?
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
good. There's no good end to any of these stories.
Let this be
Unless
a
they can-
lesson,
yes.
teens listening.
Unless you get a deal on TV.
Yeah, but
You know,
seems like-
teen
doesn't-
possum moms.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But you know what? I feel like
Animal Planet. Possum.
Yeah, teen possum.
you know what?
moms.
That would probably be the highest rated show on their network.
I'd watch it.
I'd watch the shit out of that show.
Man, when I saw that in the pool, I was devastated
course.
because I was wandering around looking for her. I was like, "Wait, I'm going to look for your mom or somebody." Or, and yeah, and she was there the whole time. And of course, I run through my mind, well, if I was there 5 minutes earlier, maybe I could have saved them both, and maybe blah blah blah. I'm like, but
You did what you could.
Too bad it wasn't like Sunset Boulevard and the possum could narrate what had happened to us,
Yes.
starting with her death in the pool.
that would have been helpful.
That would have been really helpful.
Because I
There's
was
no
wandering
small
around the
ponds.
whole complex, like
Yeah.
looking, is she hiding somewhere? And it never dawned on me to look.
Well, yeah, I
deeper.
wouldn't. I don't think I
Which
would.
wouldn't have mattered. I mean,
Yeah, she was gone.
It was too
wouldn't-
late.
Yeah.
you did everything right.
Thank you.
Well, you have to, the video is very sweet, except it's got a very long tail. It just gets longer and longer as it's being pulled out of the water. It's a little creepy, but she
I
was very
can't
cute.
wait to watch the video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Didn't I put a ways back in one of our? Have you guys memorized every newsletter? for some reason, I feel like we talked about possums before.
Well, we definitely have talked about
because of the
before,
possum
yeah.
at your house. And then there was the video of the guy who has that really intense friendship with the baby possum.
I don't remember that.
And like they're best friends, and like the possum lives in his hat, and it's a little bit it has a little bit of my octopus teacher vibes. Where you're like, okay,
There's definitely a divorce happening.
like just go on Tinder. I don't even think he's married. That's what's even worse. You're like,
Right.
maybe go on a date and don't bring your possum.
Is it like Ratatouille? He pulls the levers.
It's a little too much, but he's like Mr. Possum. I'll send it to you guys, and I'll link it, because I know I did before, but it might have been like buried in like a weird place in the newsletter where if you don't look for it, you won't find it. It was one of my Easter eggs.
Okay, so I want to share a text exchange between the three of us that started in and ended in some confusion.
Well, we're all involved.
The little kitty. Well, she's not kitty. The pregnant mama,
Yes.
was actually Benjamin was in her bed.
Oh.
So I took a picture of it and sent it to Garen and Chris, and I said Benjamin in her bed, and Chris said, "So cute. Did she birth yet?" Is that an even word? I don't know.
Did she birth?
Birth, is that the verb? How you say? Did she birth? Yeah, I guess so.
I think you can do that.
No, you definitely can. And I said, nope, just lots of sleeping. Then Garen says, because we're talking about the previous episode, which is about fishing and the and seasonal depression. So Garen says, do you want to call the episode Seasonal Depression and Fishing in Alaska, or maybe Seasonal Depression and Seasickness? Then Chris says Sads and Dads, although I guess it wasn't really his dad, but it rhymes. Sorry, I'm having an argument with myself. Then Garen, he just LOLs. LOL. I was trying
Thanks, Garen. Thanks for that.
Trying to tie seasonal and seasick because of C. LOL. 2 LOLs back to front.
Hey, I'm an LOLer.
Like Mexican or Spanish punctuation at the front and back. Upside down. That's me. So then Chris says, make sure you have sharp scissors close and sanitized, Danielle. So then I write, it was his dad. I think it works. In my head, there was a connection between Alaska and Sad, but it never came across. And then I write, are you serious? I have to cut umbilical cords? And then Chris said, I meant like it wasn't his dad. He had to survive. OMG, I have to stop typing like. Ha ha.
LOL.
No, she does say ha ha. No, but it was fun to tease you just now. So then I write, okay, because I thought about that and then convinced myself only primates have umbilical cords. Which I think is true, because cats and dogs don't have belly buttons, so I think it's just primates that have umbilical cords. It can't be just humans, right? It's got to be all primates. I don't know. We'll find out in what we learned today. But so I still don't know what the scissors thing meant, but I seriously was freaking out, thinking I have to fucking do surgery when this cat gives birth and I have to cut like 6 times an umbilical cord.
Oh, I was just teasing you because I thought here's the thing. I knew you wouldn't know.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You knew I wouldn't know what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew what I was doing. I knew it would be funny because you wouldn't be sure, like, what was coming.
Okay.
And I thought it'd be funny to send that text, and it was.
Wait, did you know I would link it to the cat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a misunderstanding.
No, I was like, she's going to get scared if I send her a text about having scissors sterilized and ready.
Okay. Because I thought you meant it. I thought you said later that it had something to do with fending off your dad if you have to survive your dad.
No.
Oh, you knew what you were doing.
I did,
Okay,
yeah.
it wasn't miscommunication. You were just intentionally, it worked.
It was just that we were having two conversations at the same time.
Right.
And so I thought it was funny. And I was like, Danielle's never probably been witness to a cat giving birth.
No.
She doesn't know that, like, the cat is going to take care of everything.
I have to boil water.
So, like, I was like, this is going to... She's already kind of freaked out about what's happening.
Yes.
So this is going to take her over the edge.
Oh my God, it totally worked. Because then I was like literally picturing, okay, how do you sterilize scissors? I think you hold them over a flame. Or you could just buy a new pair of scissors, but then are they sterile? And then I was like, but wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. Because what do they do in the wild? They just bite them off? Like, that can't be what it is. And then I was like, oh, dumb shit. Wait, isn't that how you
I think
sterilize
you'd put them
things?
in a pot of boiling water.
Yes, but can't you also? I don't know. I always see on shows like they sterilize them by putting them over flames.
I mean, if
no?
you have to, yeah. Vodka, pour some vodka,
Right.
on everything,
Right.
Just
I get
take
the
a
cat
bottle
drunk.
of vodka, pour it over the
my
cat.
God. This is so stressful. Are we getting into today's story?
We're going to get into today's topic.
Topic, I meant.
And we're going to talk about crowd crush.
Okay.
How to survive a crowd crushing
Oh
you.
my God.
Crowd management experts say public safety officials and event organizers should be held responsible for keeping people safe at large events. All right?
Yes.
That's their job. However, once a dangerous situation develops, there are steps you, Danielle, you, Garen,
Yes.
can take
Oh.
to reduce your risk and improve your chances of survival.
Okay.
That's what I want for you guys.
Thanks.
When you're in a crowd. First, you might be asking yourself, how can I even tell when a crowd is becoming dangerous? Oh. Right? How am I supposed to know?
Yeah.
Crowd density can shift in seconds. By the time a situation starts to feel risky, to you, the crowd already may be packed too tightly for you to leave.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Okay? So you want to look for our subtle danger signs. All right? I'm going to give you some subtle danger signs. If the crowd is moving, then slows, that's a sign that density is increasing.
Okay.
This is according to G. Keith Still.
What a name.
It's so awkward. It's
Yeah.
G. Keith Still. A visiting professor of crowd science.
What?
Right.
That's a thing?
That's a profession.
Wait, I got to call Oliver and tell him I've just picked out a new career for him.
At the University of Suffolk in England. Suffolk.
Uh-huh.
Listening to crowd sounds is important. Okay? If you hear people complaining about discomfort and cries of distress,
Okay.
it's not just the voice in your own head, Danielle.
Yeah.
Things are getting out of control. Pay attention to your instincts. Several people at a recent crowd crush event that I'm going to talk about later noted feeling like the situation was becoming unsafe and left. My most sort of visceral memory of this feeling was at the Women's March in D.C.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, the first one, the one that we thought was actually going to do something. I haven't gone to any after that because I was like, why? We know the first one didn't do anything, so...
I was there too.
I guess there's no reason. But there was a point in which everyone, it was sort of, the speeches were kind of done and everyone was moving, but like not in the same direction seemingly. And I was near the Washington Monument, right? That big, tall, phallic structure.
Yeah.
And the crowd was moving in like multiple different directions. And it was so tight. There was no space. And I began to feel very panicked, which is also, I'm a little claustrophobic, so I'm already not that comfortable in a crowd, but this became ominous feeling. And I also was very aware that there were a lot of Trumpers in the same
were there?
city, like because of the
in the same
inauguration.
city. Yes.
And I kept just thinking, like, if something goes down, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to get crushed.
That
If
could be
one
scary.
person comes with a gun or gets violent.
It could have been a car backfiring because you could not possibly be the only person who felt that way.
Yeah. And so I was like, and I remember thinking, I don't have much battery in my phone because I was trying to I was there with Jesse and Todd and Lisa, basically all our guests on the show.
Right.
And I thought, I don't care. I'll make my way back to the hotel. I can't do this anymore. And I sort of squeezed my way up onto like a hill and then I just left.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was kind of...
You got separated from them.
I got separated from them and I just texted and said, see you later.
Every woman for herself.
Yes. I'm not marching anymore.
Yeah.
I don't care about fascism, I guess. But I felt like I had to for my safety. It felt not safe. And nothing happened and I was wrong, but I still felt better like this is the right thing to do. I need to get out of this.
Yeah.
So this is some advice about when you're too tightly packed in. Once the crowd density begins to exceed about 5 people per square meter, which don't ask me what that means, or 11 square feet.
Okay.
So I guess that's 11 feet of a square.
Yeah, 11 by 11.
Right? So if there's more than 5 people in that square with you, they're saying the situation is potentially dangerous. I've certainly been in with more people.
Yeah.
A crowd this is Martin Amos. He's a crowd expert and professor of computer and information sciences. There's a lot of jobs around this crowd stuff. I mean, this is a burgeoning
Jesus.
career we should think about.
Don't complain about not having a job, you guys. You could go into crowd science.
It seems easy to get into.
Why not?
While it may be difficult to gauge the crowd density, you will notice when you're starting to feel confined, which means it's time to leave. I mean, that's hard to gauge, though, if you also are a little claustrophobic, because that can happen pretty quickly for me. I can just be in line at a grocery store and feel like it's time for me to leave.
Right.
As soon as you feel like you're losing autonomy, that's the key. It's when this is Amos again. It's when you start to get in a situation where your movement is not your own and you're at the whim of physics. It becomes very difficult for you to move independently.
Okay.
Keep your eyes open. Look for the most obvious escape route. Okay. Here's what you should do if you're stuck in a crowd crush.
Okay.
Here's your priority. Stay on your feet. Keep your arms from being pinned by your sides.
Oh, okay.
Protect your chest and conserve oxygen. Here's how you stay on your feet, okay? This is the reference we made earlier about the boxer stance. You need to stay on your feet. You need to brace yourself, but also move with the crowd rather than push against it. So dense crowds can ripple, surge, and move in waves, almost like an ocean.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm so sniffly today.
Yeah, same.
Go with the flow, says Amos. It's tempting to resist the flow or pressure of the crowd, but you're not going to win against this mass.
Okay. Yeah,
You're not going to fight.
Right.
Like some people might panic and try to push against it, but that's a
So
losing
just turn
game.
around and go that way.
Go with the crowd.
Yeah.
If you have to.
I'm thinking of a young Arnold Schwarzenegger in Jingle All the Way.
Okay.
When
You seen a crowd crush?
I believe there's a crowd trying to get that doll, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Be him.
so people can reference, just so they can picture.
No, it's a very
have a real life.
We're all picturing that movie from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Keep your feet in a boxer-like stance, feet apart, one foot in front of the other, and knees slightly bent. It's important to keep your hands up. Once the crowd gets packed too tightly, your hands can easily be pinned to your sides. Use your dominant hand to grab your opposite forearm, which creates a shield in front of your chest. With your
Nice.
elbows as a brace against other bodies.
Ooh, I got pointy elbows. That's going to be
see?
awesome.
Nobody's going to like your pointy elbows.
Yeah.
This will help protect your chest and maintain a breathing zone.
So smart.
Here's something. If you have a backpack, turn it forward over your chest.
Backpack full of rocks. I know.
Right?
Stone the crowd. That's what you're going to say. Pull the rocks out and start hitting the crowd with it. Am I right?
If we've learned anything from our show,
Yeah.
it's carry
Always
a
have
backpack.
a backpack. Yes.
Danielle, I've got some bad news for you.
Uh-oh.
Short people
Yeah.
are at a higher risk of restricted oxygen than the talls.
Okay. That makes sense, I guess.
Don't bring children into crowds.
Or Danielle.
Or Danielle.
Okay.
If it happens, put them on your shoulders.
Ooh.
Or
that's
hold
gonna be hard
them.
on my neck. Yeah.
And wrap their legs around your waist. Don't try dragging them by the arm. That's how I
Okay.
usually get my kids everywhere.
Right.
I just, pull them.
Grab one with
Grab
each
both.
arm. Yeah.
Slide them down the sidewalk. Shouting is a waste of energy and
Oh,
oxygen.
okay.
Don't shout. Don't use it up. It's not going to help anything.
Mm-hmm.
Most crowd crushes are relatively quiet as people work together and try to help each other.
Eerie.
It's kind of creepy, right?
Yeah.
Stay calm. Remain calm.
Remain. Stay and remain.
Keep your head up
Okay.
for maximum air. This is also important, Garen. If you drop your phone or any other item, like your possum, let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
We don't need your phone in a crowd crush.
No, you really don't.
That would be extremely hard for most people, myself
Right?
included.
How do you record it for the internet?
TikTok.
Well, if you're still recording and it's faced up, it can just record people.
Yeah.
Be an interesting perspective.
true,
Yeah.
But how will people know it was your phone?
That's a really good point.
Can you get it from the cloud?
Yeah.
When you get home and after you've recovered from all your internal injuries.
Yeah.
The good news is they're really strong, so
That's true.
It'll sustain
The phone is stronger than you are.
crushing footsteps.
Once you bend down to pick something up, you're likely
yeah.
to get back up again. Okay, so just decide how important your phone is.
Oh, boy.
If you fall or trip, try your best to get on your feet. But if you can't, your odds of surviving are best if you go into a fetal position on your left side and protect your head. Okay, you're most vulnerable if you're on your back or your stomach.
Wait, I thought it just said go on your side.
Yeah.
But you just said back or stomach. Oh, you're most vulnerable. You're
Yes,
most vulnerable.
yes.
But why your left side?
I don't know.
That's so weird.
That's a good question. Why not? You're right.
That's so
Or is there
weird.
more-
Unless
is there
there's
some special
assuming your
organ?
right hand. Oh, your heart is on
Yeah.
your. It's
Isn't it
closer
in the
to your.
middle?
It's really in the middle, but I think it might be closer to the left side. Anyway, that's very interesting. Okay, something about kidneys. I don't know.
This is what causes people to die in crowd crushes. Are you ready? This is hard for me to say because it freaks me out so much.
Okay.
Not because it's going to make me emotional. It sounded like I was like, guys, I might not be able to get through this without crying. I mean, it is sad, but it's also freaking me out. Many people who die in crowd events aren't killed by trampling or a stampede. Some people struggle to breathe and lose consciousness while they're still standing up.
Whoa!
Others faint and fall to the ground. A common cause of death in crowd disasters is compression asphyxia, which means you're packed in so tightly your lungs can't expand inside your chest. Here's something. Okay, when one person falls, it can create a domino effect, and people in the pile up may suffocate. Those who escape may succumb to their injuries later. Some people will have broken ribs and fractures or spinal cord injuries.
Jesus.
Organ damage, particularly to the lungs and heart, as well as internal bleeding or muscle damage, can also occur. People in crowd crushes say the pressure can cause limbs to go numb. The resulting muscle damage can lead to a life-threatening condition that occurs when muscle tissues release proteins and electrolytes into the blood, damaging the heart or kidneys. So oftentimes people come out of it, their legs are numb, then their legs are fine, and they're like, oh, I'm okay. And then they get home and then things just start falling apart.
Why is your body built like that? So electrolytes can flood your blood or whatever.
I mean, I think we're just not meant to be in crowds like this.
that is crazy.
Is it safe to help others during a crowd crush? Like, do you help the person up or do you just keep moving?
Keep moving.
What's your thought on this, Garen? Do you have play the...
He just rescued a possum, so I'm guessing he's
I
gonna.
only help animals.
Oh, it's like, humans are
I
more
think-
complicated.
God, that's... If it were me, I think my instinct would be to try and help.
Same.
And you're going to say you shouldn't. Because
No, I'm not. I'm going to say you should.
Oh, okay.
Your chances of survival improve if those around you also stay on their feet. When one person falls, it can trigger a dangerous crowd collapse,
Okay.
essentially a domino effect when people fall onto each other.
Got it.
If someone around you trips or falls, do your best to help them up. It might not just help their chance, but your chance as well, said Amos, one of our experts from earlier.
Yeah.
A crush isn't a battle. It's in everyone's interest for everyone to make it out alive. So it's not necessarily, I feel like if it's like you're in a boat and in the ocean, you know, you're not going to be able to help everybody.
Yeah.
Because you're going to drown yourself. But this
Right.
seems like a different kind of
Yeah,
situation.
help everybody.
You're
Okay.
supposed to help everybody. All right. So is there a way to plan and lower your risk if you're attending a crowded event?
I don't know, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you. I think some of it's going to feel pretty obvious. One of the biggest things you can do is wear sensible shoes when
No
you plan to be in a
shit.
crowd. Don't wear heels. Don't wear silly things that... Don't wear
Flip-flops.
open-toed shoes.
Yeah.
People often step on each other, so wearing sturdy shoes can protect your feet and improve your stability.
Very
Remember,
good.
you don't want to fall down.
No.
Falling down equals kick, dead.
That was a Guy Ritchie movie, right? Kick Dead?
It should be.
Yeah.
Nice.
If you're in a crowded club or indoor event, be aware, or outdoor, of all the exits, not just the one closest to you. During the Station nightclub fire in West Warwick, Rhode Island, there were multiple exits, but people surged toward the main exit, resulting in a crowd crush that left people trapped. So the conventional knowledge is to take the exit closest to you to get out, but that doesn't work if everyone else is doing that too. Would you guys like to hear my story?
Yes.
I mean, it's not my story, a story. This is a pretty famous, tragic one, but I didn't know a lot of the details. I'm going to talk about Seoul's deadly Halloween crush from 2022.
Seoul,
South Korea.
I don't think I know anything about
I
this.
don't know if I know this.
I was like, how did this happen? And I did not really know. Maybe I just never read about it. I'm sure there was massively wide news coverage.
Did it happen around the same time of the... Wait, you said in 2022?
2022. It just it's not that long. Halloween 2022.
Oh, that was
Okay.
after. Because that
This is
Travis
recent.
Scott concert was recent too, where that stuff happened. But
Oh, yeah.
maybe it
So
crossed over.
this is nuts. Okay, so this is South Korea. Halloween in Itaewon, I'm sorry if I'm saying this incorrectly, isn't a single event held by an organizer. It's a popular place for young people. It's an area, right?
Okay.
Taiwan is an area. Often, so people dress in elaborate costumes. They go bar hopping and clubbing, and it's a lot of young people. And from the Itaewon subway station, the main nightlife strip can be accessed via a sloping alleyway less than 13 feet wide that runs between the brick wall of the Hamilton Hotel and some stores. On weekends, the alley gets busy for people coming and going, giving it a fun atmosphere where their friends meet up and party. Well, this is how it unfolded on the night of the tragedy, okay? By 4 p.m. on October 29th, so it's the weekend of Halloween before actual Halloween, like the Saturday night when everybody's like, we get dressed up, we go to the city, the main area, we're going to party. Crowds had become significantly big, said Park Shang-ki, a parking attendant who worked across the road from the alley where most of the crush took place. By 5 p.m., the alley was so packed it was completely blocked off, according to the owner of the restaurant facing the alley. Remember, 13 feet wide. At 6:34 p.m., police received an emergency call, the first of 11 increasingly urgent calls that first pleaded for crowd control, then for rescuers. That alley doesn't look safe. It feels like people can be crushed to death, the caller said. I barely escape. I think you need to control this. There are simply too many people. Police will come and check that out, the officer responded. According to police logs, the second emergency call came just after 8 p.m., with the caller saying people were being pushed, falling, and getting hurt. Ooh. It's chaotic. I think it needs to be controlled somehow, the caller said. Similar warnings growing more dire soon followed. Just after 8:30 p.m., a caller warned police the situation was really serious. 20 minutes later, another caller said it felt like a madhouse. It's not a joke. It's not a prank call, they said, adding, I beg you. Things rapidly escalated between 8 and 9 p.m. with footage showing the Itaewon streets lined with clubs and bars blasting music, packed with revelers standing shoulder to shoulder, some pushing forward in a slow-moving wave. Crowds are unusual for Seoul in this area, which is often full of partygoers. Some experts have said this may have contributed to the disaster, with residents unaware of the danger because they were used to being in tightly packed crowds. So they weren't quite aware that this was a worse crowd. In a selfie video taken at 8:41 p.m., 22-year-old French exchange student Anne Le Chevalier and her friends laugh at the number of people as they wait in the middle of an unmoving crowd. At the beginning, we thought it was funny, said Anne. We heard Halloween in Itaewon.
That's the French sense of humor for you.
Yeah, they just love funny things. But unease soon set in. In a video taken just minutes later, the group's laughter has taken on a nervous edge. As one girl says, just try not to fall. Another responds, I'm scared. Shortly after, Chevalier says they began to feel crushed. She passed out and was evacuated, with a photo taken at 8:58 p.m. that shows her being lifted away from the crowd by 2 men. By 9 p.m.
So not even policemen?
No.
Just, okay.
9 p.m., emergency caller urged police to make an emergency dispatch now, saying a big accident could occur at any moment. Several other callers, so many calls are coming in, you guys, and
this is infuriating.
Describing the situation as horrible. 9:02, a caller said somebody is going to die. By 9:30, the streets were crammed full. Some people reported not even be able to exit the nearby subway station, with new partygoers still arriving. Because think about it.
Yeah,
you're not going to get there
right.
till 9:30. You're like, I'm not going to show up early. So 10:23, authorities finally come to the scene where they saw up to 10 rows of faces. We couldn't even see their legs. They said workers pulled out the people in the bottom row first. But
wait, I'm sorry.
So they're stacked that high.
Wait, I don't understand.
10 rows of faces, like this. Like the crowd, it's crushed down.
The crowd is laying down?
I think they're stacked on top of each other.
Like horizontally?
I think so.
Like the Muppet Show when they got those doors.
Yeah, it's Muppet Show. Crush.
Or whatever. Is it Muppet Show?
No,
they pulled out the people in the bottom row first. But when we laid them on the ground, most of them were unconscious.
Oh, my God.
The sheer volume of people made it difficult for police to reach those who needed help.
Right.
So videos on social media, there's so much of this on social media.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up.
Showed people performing compressions on other partygoers lying on the ground as they waited for medical attention. So by 11:46, finally, there's some news, like the South Korea's Yonhap news agency is saying dozens of people are receiving medical assistance after suffering from cardiac arrest, and saying, the police are finally there. And now they're saying at 11:55, turn away. There's an emergency at the Hamilton Hotel. So they're putting out announcements to anyone else, like, don't come here, turn away. Citizens, please return home as soon as possible. And by 12:30, the scale of the tragedy is becoming clear, with photos showing a line of blue body bags on the street as first responders rushed the wounded onto stretchers and into ambulances. Just after 1 a.m., authorities released the first death toll of 59 killed as they worked frantically to transfer injured people to nearby hospitals and bodies to multiple mortuaries.
Jesus, 59 people.
I'm not done.
Oh, no, that was just the first call.
By 6 a.m. on Sunday morning, as families across South Korea woke up to the news and began the agonizing search for their loved ones, the death toll had risen to 149.
Oh, my God.
It ticked up over the following days as more people succumbed to their injuries. Remember that earlier thing about that they don't know how to injure the area, reaching the current figure of 156.
Good Lord.
So the prime minister said the disaster revealed South Korea's lack of deep institutional knowledge and consideration for crowd management. And then by that Wednesday, there was an investigation unit raiding local police stations across Seoul.
Yeah.
The chief of the police station was suspended and replaced. Now, do you want to hear the latest update?
Yes.
That's been a while.
I want to know what happened.
January 13th, 2023. This was the latest update on this. They concluded their investigation of the Halloween crowd crush that killed nearly 160 people, blaming the police and other government agencies for failing to take precautionary measures to avoid such a disaster and for bungling rescue operations. The crush was one of the worst peacetime disasters in South Korean history.
Wow.
So the unit has so far asked prosecutors to indict 23 people, about half of them police officers, on criminal charges. Most of the officers were accused of contributing to the deaths through negligence of official duty or fabricating or trying to destroy official documents that may include criminal evidence. So this, because it's the team that's doing it is an ad hoc group composed largely of police officers, and they operate as an arm of the National Police. A lot of the families of the victims are like, this doesn't seem kosher. Like, we don't think you should be the ones investigating since you're also part of the problem.
Right.
The family said their fears were realized when the investigators confirmed on Friday that they had cleared the Seoul metropolitan government, the National Police Agency, and the Home Ministry, which oversees the police and fire department, of any wrongdoing.
Jesus.
So they're saying the investigators only went after tails, which means low and mid-ranking police, fire department, and other government officials in the Yongsan district, while protecting the home minister, the national police chief. The victims' families said this in a joint statement.
All right. Well, we'll be right back after this.
Fall is here, and if you want to sleep in the coziest bed imaginable, you have to start with Boll & Branch's best-selling 100% organic cotton sheets. You'll spend every night wrapped in buttery, breathable softness and feel your sheets get even softer with every wash. Discover the difference with Boll & Branch's 30-night guarantee. Plus, get 15% off and free shipping on your first set of sheets. Visit bollandbranch.com and use code WONDERY15. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
Canva presents a work love story like no other. Meet Productivity. She's all business.
The Canva doc is done.
Creativity is more of a free thinker.
Whiteboard brainstorm.
They're worlds apart, but sometimes opposites attract. Thanks to Canva.
The data is in the deck.
And now it's an animated graph.
Kristine, where productivity meets creativity. Now showing on computer screens everywhere. Love your work at canva.com.
Welcome back to How to Survive. Kristine, how was your break?
Oh, it was one of the best. It was one of the greats. Top 5 breaks.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'd put it up there.
I had a, what do you call it? Allergy pill.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a snack bar.
I did have a snack bar, mini Laura bar.
You know how to live.
I really fucking do. Just every day is just, when is my next bar come? I'm like a hamster. Like, I'm going to start drinking from a water thing that just goes right to my mouth.
Well, if you were a possum, Garen would
rescue
swallow
me.
you.
Yeah, so sweet.
I know. Too bad.
Well, speaking of the stars of Never Not Funny.
Segue alert.
On the first half of the show, we talked about Crowd Crush. And now we're going to talk about soul-crushing jobs with Matt Belknap.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Does it feel so weird to be sitting over there?
Yeah, I'm using Garen's headset, which I don't like at all. And
Yes.
on Never Not Funny, this is his headset. I know for you guys, it's the guest headset.
Right.
But,
Why don't you like it?
it just is new and strange.
You
New
don't like
experience.
change.
Yeah, I don't like
You
change.
don't like change.
I'd much rather be over there, but I respect the format. I respect the space that you create.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The tables have turned, yes. So, Matt,
Yeah.
tell us about. We know a thing or two about soul-crushing jobs, but
yeah.
tell us about your experience.
Yeah. We were talking about, you and I were talking about texting about like what thing I could talk about, and I think we both realized like I've told almost every story of my life on Never Not Funny.
Right.
So like, what's left?
We don't. It's not that all of our listeners listen to Never Not Funny,
Yeah.
but there's
some
big enough overlap.
overlap.
Yeah.
And I also hate repeating myself. So it's like I felt like I wanted to bring something different. So I realized I haven't really talked much about what I did before Never Not Funny
Right.
for work on Never Not Funny. I've mentioned it here and there. But I was a script reader for Imagine Entertainment, which is Ron Howard and Brian Grazer's production company.
Right.
For like 10 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that long.
Time. Yeah. Right out of college, I got a job reading for Samuel Goldwyn, who was like a small independent production company. And then after like a year, someone who had been there had moved jobs over to Imagine, and they like called me and said, "Do you want to read scripts for us?" Reading scripts, by the way, for people who don't know, Hollywood inner workings is like the lowest possible level of developing something to be a movie. So like you, and so script readers are not employees of the company they work for. They can work for multiple companies. You can basically, it's just like a freelance gig where you don't go to you only go to the office to pick, in the 90s at least, you would pick up a physical script from the office, like usually at the end of the day, and they would say, read this and then write coverage on it and send the coverage in the next morning.
So coverage is basically you're writing about the script, what your feelings about it, whether you recommend it to go to the next step kind of thing?
Yeah, it's like a book report. It's like you basically summarize the script, and then the last page you give 1 page of notes, like here's what's good about it, here's what's not good about it, and then you either give it a pass, consider, or recommend. And like recommend in 11 or 12 years of doing this, I think I maybe did that twice.
Wow.
You never recommend anything because you never want to be on the hook for like,
I see.
Like, this is so great, like you've got to do it.
How many people do you think it is between you and the two big guys at the top? Just recommending a script.
I mean, Imagine weirdly was not like a huge company, even though they were successful and well known because, you know, Ron Howard's famous, but it was only like maybe 2 people. Like it would maybe go to I work directly with the story editor, so that's like this would usually be someone's assistant gets promoted to story editor. So the story editor's job is to sort of gather all the incoming scripts and then like divvy them out to. They have a bunch of readers working at the same time, you know, that they can reach out to. And so I would report to that person. I would go to their desk, get the script, and then send them the coverage.
Were you getting paid per script?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
This is the glamorous world.
Right.
So okay, let me just explain, to go back for a sec. I went to film school. I wanted to make movies. I wanted to be a screenwriter. So I came to Hollywood. I was like, this is a great job to learn how to write. Like, what better way to learn how to write than to read
Smart move.
5 scripts every week? Worst idea, because nothing crushes your soul of like wanting to be creative more than like reading everybody else's stuff and also like absorbing. It's mostly terrible.
Yeah.
Like, 80% of what was submitted was bad, and I was just like I was like the garbage man who had to like, deal with the incoming
slush pile.
Yeah, like they needed someone to be the first line of defense between them and this sort of tidal wave of crap that was coming at them every day.
But crap which is also coming via agents.
It's all coming from agents.
It's not just like I'm in Wisconsin going, I got a good idea. I'm going to send this to Imagine. Like
important point. Yes, thank you, Kristine.
So it's still These are writers who are
They're represented.
They're represented by an agent.
Why? So that it didn't. I shouldn't say why, but it didn't inspire you. Like, I can be better. I'm better than this.
At first, I think that was true. Like, so just again, keep in mind, I did this for way too long.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, one of the takeaways, if anyone listening to this wants to be a screenwriter, is do not do what I did for as long as I did
Right.
it. Because I think
Yeah.
initially I was learning a lot, and it was actually very helpful for my writing. But for my brain, what was hard was reading every other people's writing every day and critiquing it. It's like turning on the critical brain
Right.
and developing that like to a crazy extent. Like my critical brain was like doing 1,000 squats a day,
Right.
but my creative brain wasn't doing anything.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
like when I went to write, you guys know this from being writers.
Yeah.
Like when you're writing, you have to turn off the critic.
Yes.
And just let everything go, and it was very hard to do that. So yeah, I was just
You're like imagining what other people are going to be saying about
Yes.
your script.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and also
yeah.
your taste. It's that thing where it's that famous speech of who's the host of This American Life?
Ira Glass.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ira Glass talks about that concept of our taste being different than our talent. So you're refining what you're learning, and so your demands on yourself are probably getting higher of what you're expecting from yourself.
Yeah,
because
that's a good point.
You're learning all the things not to do.
Right.
You're learning all the skills. You're learning what's wrong. You're sort of refining. So again, you're going to be harder on yourself when
Yeah,
you go to
that's
write.
really true.
You're like, I know what's good.
Right. And,
So this
and
is
what
what
I just did
expect.
isn't.
And you're not allowing yourself to
Yes.
just
Right.
write a shitty first draft.
Well, that's the thing.
You're
when
paralyzed.
And also I was 22. So when you're 22, you don't really have that much. You haven't formed an identity as a
Right.
creative person yet, if you ever will. You definitely haven't. I mean, maybe some people have, but I certainly wasn't like fully formed as I didn't have a voice. And so if you're trying to figure out your own voice, having 1,000 other voices in your head
it's
every
so
day
hard.
is probably a bad move. But yeah, that's a super good point that maybe I never fully considered, which is this like, yeah, you because I was reading shit, but I was also reading good things.
Yeah.
And so it's like the good stuff, you're like, oh, I have to be as good as this to
Right.
make like something that they're developing. I have to be like, this is the level I've got to be at. And then but then it was also frustrating when they would buy something that sucked.
Yes.
And because of course, this is the other hard lesson that came out of this, which I think I knew intellectually, but I didn't really accept it all the way until I got way deep into it, which is just like, they're not buying things because they're really good. They're
Right.
buying it because this guy knows this guy,
Right.
or like
It's attached
that's
there.
his
Yeah.
wife's brother or something. It's
Yes.
just all stupid.
Nepotism?
Yeah, so
Wait,
much
in
of
Hollywood?
It, yeah, there was so much of that, and then there was just so much of like hiring someone because they were able to like carve out a niche for themselves in some other way, like they came from TV or they they attached themselves to some star, and so like now everybody's like, this guy's good because he wrote that thing, and so they'll just take anything that person
Yeah.
sends them, and it's like, but that isn't any. That
Yeah.
sucks. So yeah, and then the other part of it, which I think is important to note, is that when you work from home, it's very isolating.
Yes.
And being a writer is very isolating.
Yes.
And so and like I think creative endeavors require a certain level of feedback to to flourish. Like you sort of need to feel like am I going the right way, or like is this hitting the way I want it to hit? But I was like at home, I would be at home every day. Elise would go to work. I would get a script at the end of the day, read it overnight, wake up early, write the coverage, and then by the time, like I had to be in at 10 a.m. Like that was the deadline for getting the coverage in the next morning. So I would be done with that at 10,
Right.
and then I had my whole day, which theoretically is great. Now you get to work on your own
Right.
stuff. This is the perfect schedule for someone who is trying to make their own way. But I was tired, and I was also just coming out of, like, if you wake up and the first thing you do in the morning is tell a piece of paper that it sucks, it's like
Bad
Be
paper.
creative.
probably not a good start to the day of like, I'm going to come up with
Yeah.
something.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so it slowly kind of just ate away at me, and I was just like, and I wrote, let me think, like I was constantly questioning my own, like what was I really cut out for this? Was I really meant to do it? Like all that woo woo type stuff of like, maybe I'm not supposed to be a writer because I can't do this, and but it was that feeling of like, I wasn't like a Stephen King type where I was like churning
Right.
out 20 pages
I
a day.
know.
It was like a struggle
yes.
for me.
We
So
all have to stop referencing Stephen King because
Well,
He's a freak.
like he's the only
Yeah.
he's
So
got
prolific,
he's something he's got a disorder.
right, totally. Yeah, it's not healthy.
That's not how creative people operate.
I
And,
think
like,
he would admit it's not healthy.
yeah, like
right?
that's not
Yeah.
that's not the goal, and
Right.
most of us can't function creatively that way.
But there are, I mean, like he's the famous example. But I
Yes.
think if you're in, sometimes you'll see like, oh, okay, like I bet Aaron Sorkin's probably kind of like that too. Like there's certain people who you can tell.
But
they just
he was
haven't-
on coke
Yeah,
for a long
sure.
time, so that
Stephen
probably
King,
helped.
actually.
What?
Stephen King
So
was
was Stephen
also
King, yeah.
Oh, he was.
yeah.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
good for us
Wait,
to like.
I think we may have just cracked a nut here.
Yeah, wait, do we just
So
need
I
to
should
do
start
coke?
doing
Yes.
cocaine.
Same.
Oh my
We found
god!
the solution.
All right.
So wait, so did you ever finish a script and give it to anyone in the office?
Yes.
Okay.
I worked a lot with one specific VP who was a really great woman, and we got along great. And so it was a good relationship. Like, she wanted me to come work for them, and I didn't want to do that because I was, like, clinging to this dream of, like, no, if I go down that
Right.
path, then I'm giving up the creative side.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was just like, I'll just keep doing this and try to figure out what else I can do with my life. And that's, I think, where the survival thing came in, which is, like, so I was writing scripts. I maybe wrote 4 or 5, maybe like 4 or 5 features and like a few TV specs in 10 years. I mean, it's not a great track record, but I was sort of slow and steady getting stuff. And at a certain point, I think I did give something to this executive, and she was very complimentary, and it was great. And then that actually ended up getting I got a development meeting with her and a producer who were trying to, I think I can talk about, I don't know if I can talk about any of this, but I'm going to. There's an old Don Knotts movie called The Love God.
Okay.
Or is it
Sounds-
The Love Guru? It's either Love Guru. No,
That's
the
Mike
Mike
Myers movie.
Yeah, I think it's The Love God.
Okay.
And it's like a terrible, terrible movie where the whole joke is that Don Knotts is like basically Hugh Hefner. Like he's
Okay. All right.
he drinks some potion and turns into like this kind of playboy.
It's not the Jerry Lewis movie, Doctor.
No, it is. It's very much
Okay.
like that, right? Did you find it, Garen?
Yeah.
What's it called?
The Love God?
The Love God with a question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. And so they were like, we're gonna try to make this into a movie, or we're trying to remake this. Do you want to like take a crack at, not write it, but like come up with a pitch and come in, and so I did that with this executive and this producer who was a writer himself, like a guy who had sort of written a bunch of comedy stuff, TV and film, and was now like producing, and it was just kind of like, I don't know, like you guys have probably have had these situations too in Hollywood where you're like, you stress about something, you're like, this is my big shot, and you're like, oh, maybe over prepare, but you're like, I want to get this right and be perfect, and then you just go in and you're like, here it is, and like, okay, great, and then nothing happens, and you're like, what did I do? What was I supposed to do?
Right.
What were they looking for? I think like years later, I think I finally realized like, oh, they don't give a shit what your idea is. They want you basically have to go in and perform.
Yeah.
And I was like so not a performer. Like I was very introverted. This is another thing. Like this was a bad situation for me from the perspective of like, I came to Hollywood. It's like, I want to work in this business, but I was super intimidated by everything. So like it was very safe and comfortable for me to work in a job where I didn't have to be in an office and interact with people. But that was the worst thing for me. Like I should have forced myself to be amongst people and like make connections and develop relationships.
It's easy to though see that looking back,
Yes.
and it's really hard in the moment to do what is completely against your personality.
But on paper, it seems like that would have been a good job. It's not like you did the things I did, like work for delivering packages and doing accounting.
Right.
I mean, you were in the right place.
Yeah. Actually, one crazy thing that happened in this job was 90% of what I read was scripts. So every once in a while I would read a book, and every once in a while I would read like a treatment, which, treatments tend to be like, they can be like 2 pages, they can be 10 pages or 20 pages, but it's kind of just like, here's the story, but without dialogue and without like every little beat. And so I read this treatment, and it was like, I think it was supposed to be like a trilogy that took place over 3 decades. It's like different families, kind of like an interweaving character ensemble thing. It was kind of like like Magnolia or like, you know, like a Paul Thomas Anderson type vibe thing, but like really ambitious and kind of messy and crazy. And I guess you could forgive that because it's in a treatment form. It's not like done. So like, but they sent it to me, and I don't remember why. I read it and I was like, yeah, this is a mess. Like, this is just bad. And so I gave it a very like harsh. My comments were very blunt, and I don't remember the order of events, but basically what happened is it turns out this was based on one of Ron Howard's ideas.
Oh, no.
And I don't think they told me that. And like,
that's why the character was redheaded and a former child actor.
And by the way, I didn't even know Ron Howard had ideas. Like, this had never happened. Like, yeah, he's a director. Like, I didn't know he ever. I guess he maybe co-wrote with his first movie, After Hours. What's the one with the
he
in
didn't
the morgue?
Do Not
After Hours. What's the with Michael Keaton?
Night Shift.
Night Shift. Yeah, Night Shift. Maybe he co-wrote that. I don't remember, but like it was totally out of left field. That was like, oh, this is based on The Boss's pitch, and so
that's
could have had a heads up on that, guys.
Yeah. So like middle of the day, next day, I'm at home. The phone rings, and it's Ron's assistant, and she's like, "I've got Ron for you." No, and I was like, "What?" Like, no prep, no like anything. It was just like, "I've got Ron for you." I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I'm like pacing around my apartment. I'm like, all right. And so I think by this point, someone had told me this was his idea. Like, it's one of the executives who
it wasn't.
And so no, it was.
No, I was just thinking of the
the
Arrested
Ron Howard
Development.
voice. Yes, right. And so he gets on the phone. And not surprisingly to anybody, like the nicest dude, like so cool. And like we just had like a 30-minute creative conversation, and it was like incredible.
Wow.
But I was like, I had for the first 10 minutes, I was like trying to get over my nerves to just be able to talk like a human being. But anyway, so Ron was kind of like, he was very friendly and very nice, but he was just like, what the fuck is your problem with my idea? Like, he didn't say it that way, but that was clearly, he was like I think he felt like, I thought this was good, and now some guy I've never heard of is saying that it's not good. I want to understand it. And so like we talked it through, and like I don't know, like it was a good conversation. And
Did he understand your points or some of your points?
Yes, and that's why it felt like a positive thing, because I think it very quickly shifted into not like what's wrong with it, but like what would make it better.
Okay.
And so it was more like he was kind of picking my brain about like how do you think we could make this work, which was amazing. Like that was like super gratifying, and like all the things like I never felt like I was getting out of that job were happening in that moment, because it was like, oh, someone cares, and we're actually talking creatively, like two people who care about creative stuff are having a conversation about it. Whereas when you, like, not to be a dick, but like when you talk to executives about it, like that wasn't the vibe at all. It was just kind of like it's like they spoke one language and I spoke another language, and they were just kind of like trying to get something out of like what's the problem. It was more like a mechanic being like, what do we need to what knob, what bolt do we need to turn to fix this? And whereas like this was more like a creative conversation. But at the end of it, it was kind of like, okay, cool, thanks so much. And then nothing ever happened with that project.
I was going to say,
as you probably realized, that you don't remember the big Ron Howard trilogy.
So weird.
So what happened, as Danielle and Garen maybe know a little bit, is like I was like struggling, like, what do I do? How do I break out of this? How do I like establish myself, or like, how do I find? And I guess just wasn't making any progress on the like writing my own scripts front. So obviously the next step is to start an online message board about the band Tenacious D and write long-winded reviews of comedy shows.
I didn't know it was originally about Tenacious D. I mean, I know you love them, but I didn't know that's what it started as genesis was.
So I started a message board in 2001 called aspecialthing.com, and it was really just it was a place for Tenacious D fans to like find.
Is that the name of one of their songs or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I need to escape all of this stuff, and like my escape was Tenacious D, and so like I started this message board, and I was just very passionate about them, and just about alternative comedy in LA at the time. And so I started going to the M Bar, which is where Comedy Death Ray, which is now Comedy Bang Bang, that's where that show started as a weekly stand-up show. And it's where I met Jimmy and Scott Aukerman and all these other people. And I was writing under a pseudonym on my website about these comedy shows, and it was basically just like I was kind of using the skills of reading scripts, but applying it to something that I was just very passionate about at the time. Which
So
is
you were
just comedy.
analyzing. I never actually read it. Were you analyzing sets?
I was kind of describing them and giving a little bit of like a, not. Jimmy would probably disagree, but I don't think it was a very thorough critical analysis. It was more like just a description and then a little bit like this was great or whatever, or this kind of missed. And that's what people got upset about. It's like comedians were obsessed with reading about themselves, but at the same time hated anything that wasn't positive.
And it really took off?
It was very popular within the LA comedy scene.
So you said you were running under a different name. So when you went to the clubs, did people know you were the one?
They did not.
Oh.
They just thought you were a fan.
Yeah. People maybe saw that there were a few people who would go to almost every show. And so I think they were like, well, it's either that guy, or that guy.
Oh, wow.
But,
You're so mysterious.
It was that part of it was kind of fun because it was like it was fun to sort of have this alter ego, and like on the site the site was just other comedy fans, and I was kind of writing those things. It was for me, but it was also kind of for them because people who weren't in LA but loved all these comedians, they wanted to know what was going on in the scene, and so
Right.
it was kind of like a report from the epicenter of this little comedy scene, and so but eventually I forget who figured it out first, or who I might have just like introduced myself to someone. Like I remember Doug Benson and Chris Hardwick and Scott. Like I think I met them pretty early on.
Was it Sasquatch? That was your name? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, like that was sort of my outlet, and then that sort of just snowballed into like now I'm. I eventually started interviewing comedians for the website, and then the interviews that were transcript interviews turned into a podcast. And then
they did?
Yeah, for a little while. That's what Jimmy and I. The first thing before we started Never Not Funny, he was just a guest on the AST podcast.
That's right. Okay.
But we recorded it at your house, and
right.
So it was when I said to him like, hey, do you want to start a podcast? Because he was doing a live, Running Your Trap at UCB.
Right.
And I thought, look, it would be very easy to just record this and you could put it out, and then people who would enjoy it can listen to it from wherever they are. And we had already done that dining room table interview at that point, and he was like, I don't think that would be a good podcast because it's a live show. And But he's like, but it was fun to sit around the dining room table talking. What if we did that instead? And so that's
I think his first question was, what's a podcast? As I remember the story going.
Yes,
he didn't know
true.
what it was. This was very early on. Yeah.
So like I sort of weaseled my way into
so smart,
being on a podcast with famous professional comedians and getting to talk and getting to be creative with them. And that was like exactly what I was not getting out of my own writing and the script reading stuff. Like it was like finally I'm doing something, I'm creating something. Like I just really remember like it was such a powerful feeling of like recording it and then doing all the editing and then like getting the file ready and then putting it on the internet, and then literally the next day or even like a few hours later, you would see comments of people going, oh, that was so far, I like this, I like that. And I'm like, that's the opposite of when you're a writer and you like spend months by yourself
and then
writing.
You have to change it.
And then nothing happens.
happens.
And you give it to a few trusted people and they don't respond to you. Or they,
do you want to read my screenplay?
Yeah. Or they're like, yeah, it was really good. And that's all. Like,
I didn't finish it. Oh, fuck.
Right.
The irony, Matt, is that all of this sounds like a really good screenplay. It really does.
Yeah.
Like you invented your own alter ego.
Yeah.
Like got into a scene.
Mm-hmm. That's a good
comedy's
point.
always done very well.
Obviously.
Stand-up is always shown very well in
As
movies.
Judd Apatow has proven over and over again, nothing works better on film than the life of a
I
stand-up.
liked that movie, but I don't know if I would like it now.
What was that one
Funny
called?
People?
Funny People, yeah.
Is that what it's called?
I think
with
so.
Sandler.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones I didn't despise. We love to watch people do stand-up. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I love what I love about this story so much, which I think also sort of bodes to good advice for creative people coming out here, is what you did was I don't want to say this in a woo-woo way, but you were so disenchanted that you instead said, I'm just going to do something I really love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Made your own
everything
thing, yeah.
unfolded. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I do think that is really what you have to do when you come here.
Right.
Or maybe just for your life is
Yeah.
like, here's what I'm interested in. Here's what I'm passionate about.
Right.
Yeah.
Or what I'm, if you don't feel passion, whatever, like what brings you joy.
Yeah.
What you would do for nothing, because that's
Yes.
I was doing all that stuff for zero money for
Right.
years. Like
Yeah.
probably, well, like I think so. Yeah, Never Not Funny. I was still reading scripts when we started Never Not Funny, and I did for a year or two after. But when we switched to a pay model, that was the first time I was making money doing the thing I cared about.
So great.
Yeah, and that was I guess 7 years after I started the website and 2 years after we started Never Not Funny, and it was 12 years after I'd moved to Hollywood. So
Follow your bliss, guys.
Wow. That's a really good story.
oh,
yeah,
thanks.
it's amazing.
Thank you so much.
So
Matt.
relatable.
Yes. Very. Yeah. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being here.
Sure.
And we will be right back with what did we learn today?
Want to teach your kids financial literacy, but not sure where to start? Greenlight can help. With Greenlight, parents can keep an eye on kids' spending and saving, while kids and teens use a card of their own to build money confidence. As a parent, you can send instant money transfers, set up chores, automate allowance, and more. It's a convenient way to run your household, customized to your family's needs, and the easy way to raise financially smart kids. Get started with Greenlight today and get your first month free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you if people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else? Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.
Chris.
Yes.
Garen.
Yes.
Are you ready to learn what we learned today? Mm-hmm. Interest in birds comes for us all eventually. It's inevitable. All mammals, except for marsupials like kangaroos and monotremes like the platypus, deliver food to their babies in the womb through the umbilical cord. Only placental mammals have belly buttons. Okay, so they do have an umbilical cord. So you're telling me all mammals have an umbilical cord, which makes sense because they feed their young. So then what the fuck happens to it?
Where are their belly buttons?
Read next.
Oh, cats have umbilical cords. Oh, God, I'm going to throw up. The new mom usually chews through the umbilical cord on her own. Mm-hmm. But if she doesn't, then you will need to step in and cut it.
Oh.
You should tie it. You should tie it in 2 areas off around an inch from the kitten's body and cut between the ties with the sterilized scissors, crushing it as you do to minimize bleeding? What the fuck?
You can do it.
But like 6 times?
Yeah. Or 8. She might have 8.
And then put your finger here so I can make a knot.
It's just a kitten. It's not going to bite you. Mama cat
No,
might.
but it's so gross. So they do have them. Okay, so I wasn't wrong. So
I can't wait to find Mandy's belly button today.
But wait a second. So that means all those kittens should have had stumps, right?
The little stumps. Maybe she
I'm
licks
so
it.
confused.
She licks it until it's off or something.
Cats don't have belly buttons the way that I guess dogs do and we do. They look more like little scars. So you might not even be able to see it.
But what I'm saying is, like, when your baby is born and the umbilical cord is cut, the baby, before it's a belly button, there was like a little black rotten banana
just falls
stump.
off, right?
Yeah. But you saw the babies soon after. Oh, maybe you didn't see them.
Not that soon.
Okay. Jesus Christ. In a crowd, trust your instincts and your ears. If you play the Rolling Stones backwards, Mick Jagger shows up to take your soul. I told you. It's fact. It's on the internet. If you're in a crowd, get into a boxer stance. You can also put your backpack on your chest. If you drop something, leave it. Trying to retrieve it could kill you. Save people. If someone falls, it can cause a chain reaction. You're safe with everyone on their feet. Stay aware of your surroundings. Know all exits, even the ones not near you. The back of a crowd is the safest. The Love God, is a 1969 American comedy film starring Don Knotts, Edmund O'Brien. It was directed by Nat Hilkin, who died between the completion of shooting and the film's release. Love God marked a change of pace for Knotts, who had exclusively appeared in family comedies, and it was an attempt to integrate Knotts into the adult-oriented films that dominated the late 60s
Yeah,
and
how'd
early
that work
70s.
out for him?
I thought he was just trying to take Jerry Lewis's kind of stuff. Ron Howard wrote 2 of his films, 1977's Grand Theft Auto.
What?
I don't know that. And 1978's Cotton Candy.
Oh, those two. Who can forget?
He has story by credits in Parenthood and Far and Away. Parenthood's really good. I wonder if it holds up.
The movie or the show?
The movie.
I love them both.
Oh, yeah. Love them both.
The show was based on the movie, right?
Yeah.
I've never seen the show.
Oh God, it's great.
It's like a tearjerker, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
But there's no. The movie has comedy in it. Does the show not have any comedy in it?
It leans more dramatic. There's
Amusing.
humor, but
Is it the same characters?
I don't even think the names are the same.
Like
I don't know.
It's
Reeves
just-
character.
I don't know how they connect, really.
It's weird.
I just think they just carried over the name.
It's just, they called it,
'Cause it's Buckley in the movie.
The Bravermans on
it
Parenthood.
that's
My
the
favorite
show.
thing about Parenthood is that they always talk about what it means to be a Braverman. Like they're never stop mentioning their last name. You're not a Braverman if you get a DUI. We're Bravermans. We don't get DUIs. Wait, you're getting married? Okay. Bravermans get married. Like so much.
Yeah.
Craig T. Nelson, who's
Oh, it's
the
Craig T.
patriarch, is
Okay.
constantly talking about like being a Braverman.
Was what's his face from Sports Night in it?
Peter Krause?
Yeah.
Yes. And he is in his prime.
And who else is in it?
Lauren Graham, Dax
Oh.
Shepard,
Oh, okay.
that woman who's blonde and pretty and was kind of supposed to be like, kind of looks like Julia Roberts, but she's blonde.
Monica Potter?
Yes, Monica Potter.
May
Okay,
Whitman?
yeah.
May
Oh, wow,
Whitman.
okay.
Yeah, she's great in it.
All right.
I loved it.
Okay. I've not ever seen it.
You can watch it or not watch
Bonnie
it.
Bedelia?
She's the mom.
Yeah.
You can't not think about her with an axe in her
Bonnie
hand.
Bedelia.
Yeah, that should sell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Well, yeah, she's like a weird character in it, if I remember.
Yeah,
where you're kind of
she's
like,
really good.
yeah, no, she's
I
great.
never thought of Monica Potter looking like Julia Roberts, but she does.
She's got that sort of
The lips.
equine horse face where you're like, you would look good as a horse. Don't you think they both like kind of look like
One of the most beautiful women on the planet.
But horses are beautiful. But like if a horse transformed into a person,
I can see it.
don't you think it'd be Julia
Yeah.
Roberts or Monica Potter?
Yeah, with
They
the
have
hair.
the hair, the big eyes. They have
Yeah.
really big eyes.
Horse
Yeah.
girls.
Manes.
Yeah,
Their
no,
noses
I
kind
see
of
it.
flare a little.
Yeah.
Horse people.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I
It's
love
a
it.
horse. It's an equine beauty. That's what I'm going to say.
Julia Roberts tried to bite me once. It was weird.
Oh
See?
no, on your nipple?
Yeah.
She almost took your nipple off.
She almost took it.
She's known for that in Hollywood. All right. Listen, this is a great segue to thank our patrons.
Let's do it.
All right. So this week, we're going to thank, I don't think this is their real name, Angst for the Memories.
Oh, that's so cute.
Isn't that cute?
I like it.
Thank you, Angst. I don't know. Their middle name is For the, last name
Yeah.
Memories. Next up, Amy File.
That doesn't sound real either.
Fyle.
Oh, okay.
Not like a nail file, more like
The Amy File.
the Amy Files. Oh, she would be a great TV show.
Yeah.
Do you guys watch the Amy Files?
Yeah, I do. It's on CBS. Yeah.
She's a detective.
Yeah. It's on after Crossing Jordan.
CBS Tuesday nights. All right. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Lauren Whitaker.
Very run of the mill, love it, down the middle, pronounceable name, love it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like she just got through school.
No problem.
No
Lauren Whitaker
problems.
had no problems.
No. Except there were 17 other Laurens, probably.
Be Amy File's best friend.
I think they are.
She'd
They're
be a good
frenemies.
sidekick.
Yeah.
They're frenemies.
There's tension.
Yeah.
They were both once in love with the same prosecuting attorney.
The same prosecuting attorney.
Well, like,
oh
it's
yeah, yeah,
because
no,
they're
right.
they're detectives.
Yes.
They're always in the court and like dealing with the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
What if Lauren's a DA?
Oh, and maybe
Yes.
here's a twist. One of them has a crush on the other
Oh.
and doesn't know if she should tell her.
Dang.
She doesn't know if she's willing to
Right.
like. All right, I hope this
Those
works
ratings,
out.
You better tell her.
Yeah. All right, Sarah Jezik.
Okay.
I think we could get her in the show.
Yeah, I think you could.
She's adding some spice.
yeah.
And I'm not saying her name sounds spicy, although
Sounds kind of spicy.
it's kind of fun. Jezik. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm bringing the heat.
Yeah, Jezik.
She's you know what? Let's make her the judge.
Okay.
I want to watch
is
it.
she-
Jessica.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Is she no nonsense?
Oh, she does not take any
Yeah.
garbage in her court.
I love it. Speaking of courts, I just got to interrupt for a second.
Yes.
I know this is a little bit stepping on NNF because you just had this guy on as one of the actors on as a guest, but you have to watch this show called Jury Duty.
Okay.
It's fucking hysterical.
I love funny things.
I'll just tell it really, really quickly.
Yeah.
It's on Freevee, so good luck.
Oh, boy.
But the premise is, so it's a show where everyone are actors pretending that a real trial is going on with a jury, except for one guy.
Okay.
Who's not an actor and has no idea that this is all set up.
Oh,
it's not
that's fun.
It's not anxious. I
Okay.
don't think it's anxiety producing. For me, it wasn't. It's
Okay.
just funny. He's a real nice guy. The premise is that they're filming it for like a show about juries, which they would never do because you can't film.
No, not
But
usually.
James Marsden is on it as himself. He was called to be a juror.
Hilarious.
And he's a total asshole. And
Oh,
it's
my
so
God.
fucking funny.
I
And
love him.
Every actor is a genius.
Yes.
They're all like one or two people you recognize, which is like worrisome because, you know, the guy's not supposed to know.
Okay.
But mainly they're all people I've never seen before who are all fantastic. Do yourself a favor.
Oh my
and watch
God.
it.
I can't wait.
It's really funny.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Because, we watched Beef.
Oh, I heard. Oh, yeah.
And it's good. Like, it's good.
It's not as good as you wanted it to be.
It's not that. It's good, and I also don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Here's
okay.
why. I'm not in a place right now where I want to see two unhappy people treat each other badly. That's
Yeah, no. Watch this. It's really silly
No.
and
I want a
funny.
comedy.
Like laughing out. Have you watched it yet?
Not
Karen?
yet, no.
Like laughing out loud. All of us were laughing out loud.
Oh, I need to laugh
it's
out
so
loud.
silly and funny, and
I can't wait.
it harkens back to Joe Schmo. If you ever watched Joe Schmo,
Joe
which was
Schmo.
a similar
Okay.
premise where they fooled. Kristen Wiig was on it before SNL. She was
know
one of-
this show at all.
Yeah, it's
I'm getting
really
gems
funny.
today. I'm getting
Yeah.
gems.
Yeah.
All right. Gregory L. Dempsey.
whoa.
Oh, he's the mayor.
He's somebody.
He is. I like that name.
I think I'm saying it right. Dempsey. It's like Dempsey, but with an A. Dempsey.
Yeah, dim sum,
Dim sum.
and dim sum.
And then he has some dim sum.
Yeah.
Thank you all
Yes.
for supporting the show and all of our listeners for supporting. We're excited to bring more episodes.
Yes.
We got a good bonus episode coming up.
Yep.
We got eventually merch on our new site. We're figuring it out.
Yep.
It's
It'll
really all
happen.
my fault, but it's
It's all right. You've had a lot on your plate.
it's full plate. And until next time, remain calm.